So, Paul,
yeah,
picture this, bro.
Okay.
You're sitting at home, right?
That's easy for me. That's easy for me to picture.
So far, so good, right?
I'm on board.
You're watching TV.
Uh-huh.
Or you're watching whatever. You're watching YouTube. You're watching something with commercials on it.
Okay.
A commercial comes on. You see this figure sitting in a dilapidated apartment somewhere, you know, on the edge of a bed.
Okay.
And he just kind of looked this pathetic figure, right? This is like, you know, this old hobbled dude. He's just kind of hunched over, miserable looking guy, right? But he looks kind of familiar. And you're like, who the fuck is that? You're like squinting at him for a minute. Like, who the fuck is that guy? He looks so fucking familiar. But who is that? And he starts talking and he's like, you know, all my years in prison, there was only one thing that kept me going. And then it clicks. That's fucking Jared from Subway. What the fuck is he doing on my screen right now? There's only one thing that kept me going. And it was the thought that one day I'd walk out a free man and once again press my lips to that sweet new triple bacon stacker from Subway. That's right, folks. You know,
Dude.
And then the fucking Subway sandwich appears, and it's like, yeah, that's right. Jared's back as the spokesperson.
That would be pretty fucking epic if Jared would manage to parlay his like child porn conviction into a yet another
he's back.
Subway. Yeah.
Not only did it help me lose the weight, helped me get off the child porn, man.
Wow.
Subway sandwiches. The power of Subway.
That's a whole market that's...
And then, of course, people get upset. People get offended. But then Subway is like, we're a good Christian company. We believe in second chances here at Subway. Then they can quote some Bible verses, and then people get really confused. Like, what do we do?
Yeah, judge not, lest ye be judged.
Yeah, they start fucking throwing Bible shit at them, and they're like, I don't know.
I'm surprised more companies don't, like, cynically suck. I mean, I know it happens probably on a lot of small companies, but like big companies, I'm surprised that more big companies don't suck up to like the Christians.
Yeah, I mean, look at Chick-fil-A. When they did it, super popular, super successful. Hobby Lobby too, I think. There's a few companies that do it, but not too many.
In-N-Out Burger is another one. They print Bible verses on all their fucking cups.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're kind of low key about it, despite that fact, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're very low key about it. Like you wouldn't, you know, like you'd never know unless you really examine their cups and shit and read about it.
Right.
But it's just it is shocking to me that more of them don't, because they're such a gullible, easily fucking swayed flock of dodos. You know what I mean? You would think that like some of these big companies would start sucking up to them.
I think most companies kind of realize that they have to kind of walk a line with those people, because if they go too far down that God-bothery path, they'll scare off the normies. And it's hard for a business to survive on Christians alone.
Well, there's fewer and fewer normies, though. You know, the Christians are winning, man. They're on the march again. Yeah,
but their numbers are still in pretty bad decline, which I think is probably why there's so much emphasis being placed right now on like indoctrinating kids, because they're like, we need new fucking drones in our army.
Man, given how much their fucking message is amplified and how easy it is for them to find a fucking platform and shit, you wouldn't know that their numbers are in decline, bro.
That's true.
Like honestly, like for me, like if you told me right now that Christianity's on an uptick, I'd be like, yep, sounds about right. You know what I mean?
The sad thing is the data kind of trails reality a little bit. So if it is starting to rise up again, we wouldn't know for like a year or two.
Subway everywhere is shit, bro. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, there's no country where Subway is good.
Yeah.
I would say that, honestly, the ones that I had a Subway sandwich in Europe, and it was better than the one that I'd get in America, but
really,
that's not saying much.
There is a variance, like a quality variance to Subways too. Like you can have like a really shit tier Subway, or like for Subway God tier, but like even a God tier Subway is like a
that just rises to the level of
road.
mediocre, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I went to a Subway once on a road trip. It was in a gas station, and we were on road trips, so you lower your standards a little bit when you're driving cross country, right? Anyway, the chicken teriyaki is supposed to come in like those little containers, like those little bowls.
Yeah.
Like not bowls, but the little paper serving trays.
Yeah.
And it has that film over it. It's like to protect it from becoming a soggy mess. Well, these people, I ordered chicken teriyaki there, but I didn't see how they had it stored. They didn't have those. They just had like a big bin that was just full of fucking chicken teriyaki and sauce, just like free floating around. I'm like, oh my God, no. Holy shit, no. And it was just a soggy, disgusting, putrid mess.
I would never, like, that's one thing I've never ordered at a Subway. I have problems with most meats, and like chicken is the one that like it's the worst, because like it looks like it should be soft, but sometimes you got that gristle in there and shit. Dude, I would never order lump chicken anything at a
chicken
fucking
is
Subway.
Weird because chicken is like, if you cook it just right, it's like really tender and juicy, but if you cook it even a little bit over that, it starts to get real tough really quick.
You know what I like? Chicken. I like chicken cutlets. You ever had a chicken cutlet?
Mm-hmm.
Like just really thin sliced chicken breast, and then they bread that motherfucker and fry it up. You put that on a sandwich, I'll eat that all day. But like that lumpy, juicy chicken, I can't, man. I usually cannot go in on a chicken like that.
Yeah, I don't blame
you.
I've
never tried their like weird fucking teriyaki lumps.
The chicken was never good, but like the teriyaki sauce was good. The sweet onion teriyaki sauce was like good enough to bring it to edible to me. But
couldn't they just drizzle that on some fucking turkey or whatever?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I pretty much try to avoid eating a Subway if I can. So
yeah, I haven't been to a Subway in years. So
yeah. Hey, look, it's hell.
Yeah. So this episode was actually born out of a William Shatner show called, I can't remember what it's called. He's got a show on Netflix, Unexplained or some shit. The motherfucker's like 90 something.
He's 91 years
91,
old. He does not,
yeah.
Dude, that dude could pass for late fucking 50s, early 60s.
50s or 60s. Yeah. I mean, it's great, and he's just like vibrant, and his voice has not changed. Like, how old men as they get old, like he just sounds exactly like he used to sound in the 60s.
I'm telling you, I really truly am obsessed with that guy to some extent, because he's like, he violates every rule that we're told about health, because he's fat. He's not even particularly like a nice dude or anything. Like, he doesn't, I don't know.
He's known as an asshole.
Like, yeah, he's kind of a prick. I mean, he's not known as a massive prick, but he's definitely known as like a bit of a prima donna and prick who's not like very nice to people, generally speaking. Yeah. He's likable enough, but he's not a nice guy. But, he's a fucking rude prick. He fucking pisses people off left and right. He just got in trouble not too long ago for fucking saying all kinds of stupid shit. Like, he's just fucking, but he fucking does not age.
Nope.
He looks great. He's healthy as fuck.
Sounds great.
He's
so lucid.
He's lucid as fuck. Like, you would never fucking know that he is as old as he is. And he doesn't look fake, like plasticky, like all these other people who try to stay young forever.
He hasn't had any if he's had work done, whoever did his, it's very subtle. Yeah. Whoever did his work needs to like start consulting with these other old people, because they look freakish.
So I don't know, man. He's got something going on.
But anyway, he's got this show called Unexplained or some shit. It's one of those like old, like you remember, like the early 2000s. Jonathan Frakes
mysteries, or Jonathan Frakes' was called Beyond Belief. His had a cool gimmick, kind of, because he would show you like, I think like 3 or 4 or 5 stories that were all like their own segment, and then some of them were true and others were completely made up.
Yeah.
And you were supposed to like try to guess which ones were which, but of course they
Dude,
were
that was
all
a brilliant.
made up.
That was a
but-
brilliant show. Yeah, I mean they were all made up. That was the joke. Yeah, no, that
You
was a
know.
brilliant like concept for a show because it made like it engaged people in such a way as like, ooh, look, not only can I like passively watch this, but I can make myself feel like I'm smart too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I knew that one was bullshit.
Yeah, I knew from the start that one was the fake one.
And you know, he was great too because he brought such a weird energy to the hosting gig too. Because like they even have little compilations where they just like have Jonathan Frakes on that show, like asking you weird rhetorical questions and shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, it's fun.
Just like super cuts of it. But anyway, so Amelia's been watching this Unexplained show. I can't. I've got my stomach full of those types of shows, but she hasn't watched a lot of them. She's watching this one with Captain Kirk,
Right.
and she talks to me about some of the stuff that's on it every once in a while, and she started telling me like, yeah, you know, they covered these like huge underground fires that we've started that burn forever and then nobody knows what to do, and like she just trailed off and my mind fogged over and I was like, we're burning under the earth as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I knew these things existed. I've heard about these, and there are way more of them than you would think that there are. There are actually thousands of these types of underground fires on the planet, most of them caused by us.
Oh, good
So,
old humanity, love us.
yeah, dude. I just kind of fell out remembering how destructive we are as a species, that we like not only are we scorching the surface of the earth and scouring it of all biodiversity and life, but we're like burning underneath it too. Like all the people that are like, oh yeah, we just retreat underground. Like underground where, bitch? It's all on fire.
Yeah, underground is on fire right now. Might go out in a few thousand years. I don't know.
Well, isn't the earth itself a giant underground fire? I mean, yeah, technically, but like
they're like deep down in the molten core, but
right. And sometimes that shit crops up and it's called a fucking volcano. It's like a giant natural occurrence on this planet. We're starting fires underground. So I don't know.
This is one.
Yeah, so this is one of them. I don't know that we started this one actually. This is the Darvasa gas crater in Turkmenistan. Also has a more ominous name, and I think a more appropriate name. The door to hell is what they call it.
I mean, that's immediately what I thought when I saw it. I'm like, oh, look, hell. There it is.
It's deep in the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan. It's a glowing pit of fire that's been burning for around 50 years. So I guess we did start this shit.
Cool.
The entire desert is rich in natural gas and oil. So research and digging are not rare occurrences in the vast and arid area. The main story goes that in 1971, Soviet engineers were drilling on the location of the crater, searching for an oil field. But instead of an oil basin, they broke into a big gas pocket. And this caused the earth to collapse down into the pocket, forming 3 large sinkholes. In order to prevent the methane from leaking out into the atmosphere, it's rumored that geologists lit one of them on fire, thinking it would burn out in a matter of weeks. 50 years later, it's still fucking burning.
They're like, yeah, all right, what we're going to do is we'll just burn off the methane gas. Shouldn't take more than a fucking couple of weeks. And here we are, 50 years later, it's still burning. It just keeps on burning and burning and burning.
And here's another thing about human beings too that always fucking blows my mind. Not only are we so destructive that we literally start fires that burn for hundreds of years, as we'll see tonight, but then like when we do, there's always some crazy fuck among us that's like, I'm going in that.
I'm going in, boys.
So of course, a few people have done little mini expeditions down into this crater. The person that went the furthest
it's like,
is this guy.
A giant flaming hole in the earth. I gotta check that out. Let me in. Let's see what's going on in there. Fire. Interesting. Yes.
Yeah. This guy's name is George Coronis. He became the first man ever to descend into the crater. He put on a special suit. It was made of this heat reflective material, and he had like a full like deep water breathing rig or whatever, closed circuit breathing rig. He walked down in the bottom of this fucking thing for 15 minutes, just chilling. He collected samples of dirt, and the analysis of the samples that he brought out revealed that bacteria were living down in there. Which
Life is pretty goddamn resilient, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like they find that it reminds me, when I heard about this, it reminded me of that. Yeah, seriously, as it is below, so it is above. Yeah, it's like we're roasting ourselves from both sides. We want to get both sides that nice brown, crispy crust.
We want humanity to have that nice rotisserie effect, you know?
Yeah. We definitely don't want one side to be all gray and undercooked, you know?
Yeah, you know, we got a George Foreman this motherfucker.
Let's get some sear on that motherfucker.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right?
So after he set off the first expedition to plumb the crater's depths in 2013, he discovered that no one actually knows how this hellish inferno came to be. So that story I told earlier might be apocryphal. It might actually be the truth. According to local Turkmen geologists, the gaping 69-meter wide by 30-meter deep crater formed in the 60s, and it wasn't lit on fire until the 80s. Yet, because gas and oil were highly prized commodities in Turkmenistan during Soviet rule, it appears any record of the crater's creation is now classified. So Russia has basically, like, because it was Russia what did this.
So the Russians fucking created a giant flaming crater.
And then won't tell anybody how it happened.
And then they're like,
why.
Oh, we don't know, comrade. You know, it's,
flaming crater happened. You know, flaming crater that burned for 50 years. I mean, it happened all the time.
Probably moose and squirrel. You know, it's like, all right.
What is certain is that this unlikely methane belching fire pit has become one of the most popular tourist attractions in the country.
I mean, you're not gonna see that elsewhere, right? I mean,
no, there's not another one of these.
I guess maybe there's some other stuff that's similar. We're gonna learn about.
There's some similar stuff, but this one is probably the most visually stunning to human beings,
right?
Because
it's
most
a
of these are
giant burning hole in the ground. You're not gonna see that anywhere else on Earth. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be in Turkey for some goddamn reason, you might as well go check this fucker out.
I mean, you might see something kind of similar at some like volcanic sites. I'm sure there's some like volcanic depressions where shit bubbles up and stuff. But like, as far as like this, like a movie set almost, like just an eternally burning hell pit. Somebody should pay Jared to be seen eating Jersey Mike's when he gets out. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Man, you know?
Yeah, dude. Have one of the other sandwich. Port of Subs jumps on it.
Subway's like, see? He eats Jersey Mike's now. You don't like us no more.
Only about 6,000 people a year, tourist-wise, visit Turkmenistan in the first place. So,
well, yeah. I mean, it's so this is I thought it was Turkey.
No, Turkmenistan.
Yeah. Turkmenistan. Yeah, I don't know anything about that country, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say doesn't sound that great.
Yeah. The burning hole is the most popular tourist attraction. So, you know, I mean, as cool as it is, that's kind of sad, you know?
Yeah, you know.
The Soviets left a huge smoking gouge in your country when they were here, and it still burns to this day. Come see it.
Hell of a tourist spot, though, you know. It brings them in. 6,000 a year strong. They come in and look at the burning hole.
For much of the past decade, as the sun dips below the Karakum Sea of sand dunes, wide-eyed wanderers from near and far have come to witness this blazing coliseum of fire light up the desert night sky.
Oh, yeah, that probably does look cool.
I'm sure it does. Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty fucking amazing. I mean, just the pictures of it are fucking amazing. So you can tell, like, being near and look at, I love how like Turkmenistan has none of the shit that you would expect in America to protect morons from themselves. Like there's no like chest high fence that you have to like.
Yeah, you know, Turkmenistan is like, hey, guess what? If you're stupid enough to fall in,
yeah,
there you go.
I mean, at least your body is neatly disposed of. You know what I mean? You get a free cremation with your dumb fucking death.
Yep. So yeah, there's no guardrail. There's no like, be careful. It's just like you die. You fall into the flaming hole and you die.
Scientists have no accurate information about the amount of gas left in the hole, and Russia ain't helping with not telling them how this happened or why. So no one can guess when this will stop. It's been burning for 50
surprised
years.
that dude that went down there and got the soil samples didn't have any sort of. I thought maybe he was trying to determine that, but I guess
he was. But you know, they were able to find bacteria down there. But as far as like why this is continuously happening, like the only thing I can think of is there must be just like this vast methane reserve trapped under this area. You know, like absolutely vast, untapped methane reserve that's keeping this fire going all this time.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be some kind of fucking reason. I mean, yeah, I mean, it has to be huge. There just
which
has
is
to
like
be
dangerous because you would think that like if there's a huge reserve of this under and it's burning on top, like what would happen if it breaks through down it? Couldn't it like make a giant explosion or some shit?
I mean, that was what I thought too, but I guess I don't know. No one's saying that, so maybe not.
Just put some flex tape over it.
Yeah, you know,
cover it with sand.
Maybe the fucking the methane, and I think that the methane is just probably like so mixed in with the earth at this point after it like imploded in that it's just like all kind of like dispersed throughout, and that's why it continues to burn for so
50
long.
fucking years though. I mean, like it's got to be being resupplied somewhere. The original shit that was just mixed in with the dirt would have been exhausted, like, you know, pretty quick, you would think.
Maybe it's rising up. Maybe new shit's rising up every time, you know. I don't know. It'd be weird. I don't really understand the nature of this sort of like geothermal phenomenon, if that's even the right term for it.
This one out of all of them tonight is kind of mysterious because most of these, like, not only we know how they started, but you know, we know why, like what's going on under the earth to keep them burning and shit. And we'll get to it. But like this one, like, yeah, they know that there was like a methane pocket that collapsed on itself. But as far as like why this thing continuously burns 24/7, 365.
Yeah. I mean, if the apocryphal,
like for 50 years,
if the apocryphal story about the scientist who was trying to burn off the gas is true, which I mean, it's the only story we got. So I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Like even that scientist, you know, I presume was probably some sort of geologist or something, was convinced that, you know, this would be out in a couple of weeks. So like that's pretty bizarre that it continues to rage on, you know, a lifetime later, and who knows what its expiration date will be. Like, will this still be burning in another 50 years and in 100? You know, who knows?
I thought this was pretty metal. In April 2010, the president of Turkmenistan, and you're gonna have to really like forgive me here. I'm gonna say his name. His name, the president of Turkmenistan's name is Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov. That's his name. Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov.
This is not him. I switched to this. I think I was a little jump the gun on that. Yeah, this is actually
that is him.
Oh, that is him. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is him.
Oh yeah, Turkmenistan leader drives around in flaming crater. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So there were rumors going around on the internet that he was dead because nobody had heard from him in a while. And so to prove that he wasn't dead, he released a video of him doing donuts around the flaming crater in a 4-wheel drive.
That's one way to like give proof of life, I guess.
Yeah.
Think I'm dead, bitch? Pfft,
here's what he released to people to prove to the trolls that he wasn't dead.
Think
you
I'm
just muted
dead,
it. It's just got like horrible music behind it. Just imagine some metal. There he goes.
Yeah. Oh, they have put a fence around it.
Oh shit! Why do they have some stupid Americans must have visited.
Yeah, someone fell in and they're like, ah, fuck, we don't need lawsuits. Put a gate around it.
But there you go. That's what they like. He released this little clip of him driving a 4-wheel drive.
I am still alive.
The whole.
It's like, okay, well, good for you, I guess. I mean, you could have just like been like, I'm fine. Hello. But no, this is what you do. I like it. You got style. Turkmenistan, you got style. Maybe you aren't. You know what? Maybe I spoke too soon about Turkmenistan. Maybe I need to fucking. I've rushed to judgment. Y'all are pretty metal. Should have used some metal for this, but whatever. Instead of this weird, what the fuck is it? It's like yeah, that doesn't match the vibe of this. You can't you don't drive around a flaming pit to. It's like that's not vibe. That inappropriate vibe, bro. Sorry.
I mean, they're in Turkmenistan. What the fuck do they know? You know
That's
what I mean?
Turkmenistan for that. Yeah, Sabi, you're judging them now. You know, you don't know nothing about Turkmenistan.
I'm not judging them. I'm just saying that, like, if you were to ask me if somebody in Turkmenistan is in tune with what kind of music you're supposed to play behind an action scene, I'm gonna say no. You know, they're not.
I mean, they got
dialed in. They got their own shit. You know what I mean? Maybe that music is fucking headbanger music in Turkmenistan. You don't know.
Like, oh, these rocks. I don't know what their accent's like. I'm fucking being a stereotype asshole. All right, whatever. Fuck you.
And so now I pull back the curtain and let you know that I kind of been leading you astray with this.
Oh no!
When you look up this fiery hole,
it's
almost always described like I've been describing it. Like nobody really understands like what's going on with it. Nobody, but we do. We know exactly what it is. It's it's like a geological anomaly. It's a superficial gas pocket which allowed the ground to sink into a national depression. You can tell where my mind is. Natural depression, allowing the slowly escaping natural gas from a large, deeper natural gas field to accumulate and burn without being extinguished by the wind. Like the lip of this makes sure that the wind doesn't blow it out, and it can't be diluted into the air as fast, and so it burns. That's what's going on.
So there is some larger reserve feeding this, basically.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this reserve is part of a larger reserve that's deeper and underground, and it is like when the upper part of the reserve collapsed, it allowed a little bit of that gas to seep to the surface, and still don't know how it was lit. That is a Russian secret. But as far as like what's going on with this, how did this happen, we know, and that's how.
I feel like I just go with the story. Because I like
look into this thing, I'm telling you, every source that you find is like nobody knows why it burns and blah blah blah. It's
because that's cooler. With something like this, like the mystery is kind of intriguing. Like, oh shit, what makes it burn? No one knows. Why does it not extinguish? Perhaps these are the vaunted flames of hell. The sinners roast.
So despite the draw of 6,000 people a year as a tourist attraction, the president of Turkmenistan has a higher priority on his mind, increasing gas and oil extraction in the area to bolster his economy. To do this, the dangerous pit has to be closed, obviously. If you're going to be speculating in this area, you can't have
you can't have
I think it becomes a very
it's a liability at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. A big open flame. And if you tap into the same reserve, this could like suck in and fucking blow up another area. You got to put this out. You got to, fix this. So he publicly declared that a method to extinguish the fire needs to be found so that the effects on the environment and public health can be curbed. Whether their efforts will be successful is unclear, as there are other eternal flames for which no solution has been found.
Dude, I hope
even
that
longer period of time.
I hope that their attempts to put this out is just like a series of like comedically inept shit that makes the problem worse and worse.
Yeah.
Man versus pit. I just can't.
He has everybody in Turkmenistan like line up around the rim of this thing and piss into it all at once.
Yeah. We believe urine will put it out more effectively than water could.
But then like urine mixes with methane to make like cyanide gas or some shit. Fucking kills all of them.
That's how chemistry works for sure.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
You just piss on a fart that makes cyanide, bro.
Yeah. Well-known fact.
Yep.
A lot of people lose their lives that way.
So let's talk about one a little closer to home, at least for you and I. I know we've got some
we got probably got some people in Turkmenistan here who are just like,
yeah, we probably have one Turkmeni guy that's like, oh, I've been to that hole. It's not worth it. Don't even bother. I don't know why people
they're
in
Indian there.
Turkmenistan. They're Indian over in Turkmenistan.
They're whatever accent we need them to be. I don't know what they actually sound like. So, sorry, Turkmenistan. We're completely ignorant of you and your culture. So we're just making shit up over here. That's how we roll.
Dude, I love these stoner ideas, dude. Yeah, dude. Just build a power plant over it.
Hey, well, wait a minute. Maybe he's got a point. It's got this it never stops burning. It's got to generate a lot of heat, put some fucking turbines and shit,
No.
Start spinning that shit,
How about this? Make a giant skillet and open the world's biggest teppanyaki joint.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
It's like a big round restaurant where they just cook over the fucking methane fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the smart thinking right there. The world's largest teppanyaki grill, and only in Turkmenistan, man. I bet they'd get 12,000 people if they did that. They'd double up.
Oh, yeah. Easily. Top dollar for that shit. Dude, convince some of these rich people that somehow the meat tastes better cooked over this fucking eternal methane flame.
Yeah.
Bam.
Dude.
You get Bezos or somebody addicted to that shit, you got it now.
We cover it with a big fucking cast iron skillet, and then we genetically engineer the most monstrous fucking cow ever. Whoa. So we make a steak that's like a half-mile long.
Oh, yeah. We just fucking make a brontosaurus size fucking cow.
And then fucking cook that steak all at once on that grill. We have all the machines there to lift it, flip it when it's time to flip it.
Make a giant chicken too, so you have a fucking giant egg with the steak,
Oh yeah.
Have the biggest steak and egg plate in history. Be like, whoa.
Oh man. Dude, I'm getting hungry talking about this.
It's fucking beautiful.
Let's talk about one that's a little closer to home. Centralia, Pennsylvania, once boasted 14 active coal mines, 2,500 residents. That was in the early 20th century. By the 1960s, its boomtown heyday had passed. Most of the mines were abandoned. Still, over 1,000 people called it home. And Centralia was far from dying until a coal mine fire began below. In 1962, the Centralia mine fire propelled the quiet borough into the spotlight overnight. The routine controlled burn of a landfill seeped underground and lit up a giant old coal mine that got into the coal seam, basically. And they didn't I guess there was waste that had concealed a gap that had opened up into this old coal mine. So they didn't know that.
They didn't know because it was just some garbage in the way.
Yep. As a result, it had not been filled with fire retardant material as they would when they found these gaps elsewhere. And
so
the hole provided
the controlled burn became an uncontrolled burn.
Yep. And it became it was a direct passageway for the fire to all the coal mines in the area.
Right. And coal is famously burns. So
right. And the entire town of Centralia exists on top of these old coal shafts and shit.
I mean, look at it, just smoking.
Yeah. So flames continued to crop up around the initial burning site over the next few days. The network of old mining tunnels stoked the fires with a steady supply of oxygen, and the rich anthracite coal deposits offered it plenty of burnable fuel.
Right. That's what we know coal. I mean, we use coal for that very purpose because it burns so slow. So,
yep. For weeks, random fires would spring up as different coal seams burned. Even without visible fire, the stench of burning coal and smoke just permeated the town from below.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to have some smoke blow in from a fire, and it's another thing if it's just always coming up out of the ground.
It's just seeping up out of the ground at all times. That's not it's not an ideal set of circumstances.
Pennsylvania authorities tried to dig ditches to expose some of these things so that they could directly put them out. However, the plan's architects underestimated the amount of earth that would have to be excavated for by more than half. They eventually ran out of funding to keep doing it, which is totally American. You know what I mean? It's we've got to do this great, huge public works project to save this town and to put out this horrible underground fire that we've neglectfully started.
Hey, we
let's quit
underestimated the
halfway
severity
through.
of the problem. We ran out of money. Can we have
Yeah.
some more? Nah,
No.
fuck it. Let it burn.
Yeah, leave it
All
half
right.
done.
But we're halfway to fixing it. We just need a little. Nope.
Nah.
Fuck you. Nope. Boondoggle. My constituency wouldn't like that. Boondoggle.
So right.
Boondoggle. America doesn't have money to spend on that. We got fucking shit to bomb. It's like, all right, this town's being destroyed. How many is it? 1,000 people? That ain't enough voters to fucking worry about. Shut up. Quit crying. So what? Bunch of coal burning underground for fucking hundreds of years. Who gives a shit?
So plan B was to try and flush out the fire by using this like mud mixture, basically. Like they were going to make this real thin mud and then pump it into the mines and hope that puts it out.
Dude, there's nothing I love more. And I think that I'm not alone in this because there's a lot of stuff built around this premise, but there's nothing I love more than people desperately trying to solve some problem and just like trying a bunch of stupid shit that fails.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
because it's like the story of humanity.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like Wile E. Coyote, man. It's like he's trying to get that fucking Roadrunner. He's got all these fucking plans. He's got all these schemes. And like this Roadrunner seems like a fucking dipshit. He's meep. Doesn't even fucking seem like he has a brain in his stupid head. And yet somehow the Roadrunner always fucking wins. Wile E. Coyote's fucking like just looking at him like, motherfucker, I just want to eat that piece of fucking shit bird. I've been trying so hard. I've got rockets. Like, I've spent millions of dollars trying to catch this fucker at this point. Please, God.
Dude, the bird just breaks the laws of physics and shit, too. It's not even fair. It's like the coyote will have, like, he's had some brilliant plans, I
know.
Like, he did that thing where he, like, painted a tunnel on the side of the mountain, so it looked like and then the Roadrunner would smash into it and kill, he'd go fucking get his corpse.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Roadrunner comes along and he's like waiting for it, and the Roadrunner can go through the fucking tunnel.
Yeah,
but
he just runs right through. He's like, what?
Then the coyote tries to chase him down the tunnel and he hits the wall. That's not even fucking fair.
Think about the fucking level of skill this fucking coyote has, too. Like, he's not only can he apparently paint a photorealistic fucking tunnel in a matter of seconds, but he has engineering expertise. He has obviously a vast source of wealth. He keeps ordering all of this high-tech shit from the Acme Corporation.
I mean, he's like, very cunning.
This has become a fucking personal goddamn vendetta. But that's what I'm saying though. Like, we're the fucking Roadrunner. Not the Roadrunner. We're not the Roadrunner. All of our problems are the Roadrunner. We're fucking Wile E. Coyote trying to fucking solve this shit. Like, please, like, come on. I got so much technology. I got all this brilliance. Why can't I make this? Why can't I do this? Why can't I make this stop? Like, it's funny to me.
So they started work again on this water flushing idea, but they did it in the winter. And the pipes
all froze.
Yeah. The water pipes froze and the stone grinding machine that they were using to make the muddy mixture froze up.
Do you think that, that means that at several points there are people like, should we, if we do this in the winter, I think this, like, won't freezing be an issue? And then some other guy glibly is like, nah, fucking blah,
like,
blah, 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 blah. He's got some expression. No, because this thing will happen and it's not going to be this and da-da-da-da-da. Just like some kind of fucking hand wavy X. No. That won't happen, good sir. Like, give me a break.
So, yeah, they elected to fill them only halfway.
Wow. I'm seeing a pattern here of just
they
like
half-assed it.
We halfway did it. We're the half-assed country in fucking history. I'm surprised we've ever accomplished anything. Get offered a job interview with Verizon as customer service week, but I'm apprehensive about it. Should I go or cancel? I mean, that's up to you, man. I'm not going to try to run your fucking life, bro. I mean, you do what you want.
How much do you need money? Like, if you're real desperate for money, you better fucking go,
Right.
If you don't,
that's, I mean, if you need the money, go. If you don't.
If you think you got a better prospect lined up, then fucking wait on it or whatever. But, like, otherwise, go take the job. It takes literally 1 second to quit a job. You just say, I quit, and you walk out. You know what I mean? So
that is true.
It
is pretty. If you get to the point where you're just like, fuck this, you could always like, peace out.
So go take it. So yeah, they half-assed it again. 20 years later, after their abortive attempts to try and stop this, central Pennsylvania really started to feel the pain of the eternal flames that now exist under it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made every half effort to stop it. So, I mean, like,
yep.
You literally did 2 solutions halfway and then was like, meh. It's like, man,
Yeah,
humanity, ain't we a bitch?
Oh yeah, we're just great, man. There was just no money to do it properly, so we half did it. We dug half the trench and we pumped the thing half full of water.
Like there are certain activities where halfway counts for something. This is not one of them.
No.
You cannot halfway put out the giant raging underground fire. You have to go all out with that one, just so you know.
Yeah, one would think. But what do I know? So people started like passing out in their homes because carbon monoxide was leaking up into their houses.
Well, whoopsie.
All the trees in the area started to die. What?
Meep.
Yep. The roads and sidewalks started to buckle as the fire raged underneath the town.
Mm-hmm.
In 1981, on Valentine's Day, a steaming 150-foot fissure that once served as a mine shaft.
Valentine's fucking Day.
Yep. It opened up under a 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski.
Domboski, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
He fell in about 6 feet, but grabbed onto a tree root like a fucking movie star.
That's 12-year-old reflexes for you right there.
Yep.
Woo!
His cousin, Eric Wolfgang, heard Tom's screams and ran over and tried to pull him out of the flaming hole. Later, officials measured the temperature inside. It was 350 degrees.
Fuck.
Todd was uninjured, implausibly. He was managed to get out of the hole. But it was a wake-up call.
Fucking reflexes right there.
Yep, but it was a wake-up call for people in the town. A few weeks later, an elderly man was rushed to the hospital for carbon monoxide poisoning after he passed out, a direct result of this fire. Officials indicated that it had been only minutes later the man probably would have died.
Okay. It's a wake-up call, man. I love it.
I just can't believe there's still people fucking
Why
living
do you
here.
need a fucking wake-up call? There's a fucking fire burning beneath your feet at all times. You shouldn't need a fucking wake-up call. You should just be awake to that.
For most people, that is the wake-up call. It's like, holy fuck, we've lit the whole underground on fire, But no. Apparently, that's not it.
Nope. Takes a 12-year-old getting sucked into a hole before they're like, wait a minute. This is a problem, huh? I was like, all right. Well, man, you guys really put that together swiftly. Good job, humanity. You nailed it. You nailed it again.
Finally, in 1984, I guess it got there. Wilkes Barre Representative Frank Harrison proposed legislation, which was approved by Congress, which allocated finally more than $42 million for relocation efforts. It's about $110 million around today.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the residents accepted the buyout offers and dispersed far away from the area. As you can imagine.
Did you say most of the residents?
I did say most.
So some people are like, nope.
I'm staying. I don't care about no coal mine fire.
I was born in this here town and I'll die in this here town.
Pretty much.
Like, all right, well, you're a stupid motherfucker, ain't you?
So eventually, in 92, the governor, Bob Casey, invoked eminent domain on all the properties left in the borough, condemning all the buildings within.
So the people were too stupid to do the buyout.
Not only that, they
domained.
Not only that, they got lawyers and fought it. Subsequent legal effort by the residents to have the decision reversed failed.
Man, so these people fought tooth and nail to stay in a place that was literally burning underground.
Yes,
at all times. It's like, you're like one floor above hell, and you're like, no, I like this place.
Correct.
Like, what is wrong with you? You're not
And
only
I'll
you'll
spend
you'll-
my life savings to fight to stay in this hellhole too.
I mean, it's
Why?
like beyond stupidity. It's like willful. I don't even know what to call it. It's just insanity. It's pure fucking unfettered human insanity.
In 2002, the U.S. Postal Service revoked Centralia's zip code. 17927 is the zip code. Only 6 homes, so there are 6 holdouts that still remain in the Centralia area that still live on top of all this nonsense.
So people who are just like to the point where they're just like willing, like, how are you even like your existence has to be so unpleasant now? Like literally the town that you lived in is gone. There's not even people or an economy or anything left there anymore. You're just staying out of pure stubbornness in a place that not only is desolate and not supported, but it's fucking on fire underground. Like, how fucking dumb do you have to be?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that like appeals to some of the people that stayed, you know, maybe they're just like super misanthropes and like like survivalists, and they're just like, fuck it, man. Like the fact that I live in an area that most people wouldn't even visit for fear of falling into a fiery hole, you know, puts
maybe
me
maybe I'm misjudging these people too. Maybe they're just super fucking metal.
Yeah,
maybe they just wake up every day to fucking Slayer, you know.
They probably do.
I mean, no south of heaven, you know, and they fucking get up and like, all right, another day in hell, sweet. Yep. Go out and fucking mine the fire fields.
So 60 years later today, the ground still burns, and the town, if you can call it that, is no more than a ghostly condemned zone. But the fire that burns beneath the surface continues to spew poisonous smoke into the air through hundreds of fissures in the ground, and it's in constant danger of collapsing. The Centralia area has now grown to be a weird kind of like alt tourist attraction.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, I kind of have an urge to go there and talk to these remaining fucking people, because I feel like it'd be an interesting like documentary to see. Like, but then I'm like, you told me it was going to collapse, and I was like, never mind. I don't want to be there.
I think that's part of like the fucking draw for some people,
right? I guess it's like probably a pretty small risk that it's going to happen right when you're there. So, but it feels kind of dangerous, which is kind of neat. You know, it's like, oh, it's a little stimulating.
This is probably the most famous and photographed part of it. It's called the Graffiti Highway, because no cars are driving up and down this, or very few, obviously. Like if you paint something on it, it just stays. And so people have come and like filled this whole stretch of road with graffiti.
Dude, this is one of the coolest things I've ever fucking seen in my life right here.
Yeah, it's pretty
I love that. This is just like a little preview of the collapse, you know?
Oh yeah. This will be left behind when there's nobody around to appreciate it. So well, last little goodbye to the world.
I mean, like, think about like there's going to be like, you know, depending on the nature of the apocalypse, there's going to be like a lot of shit just totally graffitied and fucked up. It's going to look kind of cool. It's going to look very metal for a minute.
Yeah, I think it's going to look cool too when like the forests start to take back the cities and shit. You know what I mean? There's going to be like big skyscrapers with big trees growing in the lobby, you know, and branches coming out the windows and shit. There's going to be crazy shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then there'll be like, everything will be smashed and graffitied, but then it'll also have like vines and shit grown on it. Like it'll just, I don't know. It's going to have that real fucking strong, like provenance of fucking time and ruin and shit. It's like a super cool aesthetic.
Yep.
I've never quite seen an apocalyptic movie that captured like that sort of vibe, you know? Like they never, I don't know, most of them never have the nature reclaiming the cities, you know what I mean? It's always like this desolate, destroyed city.
Well, I mean, that's like there just hasn't been one set, I think, they do have, I've seen it before, I can't remember where, but I've seen the whole nature reclaiming the cities trope in movies.
Yeah. I Am Legend does that. I didn't see
it's
that
pretty
one.
rare. Yeah. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know for a fact there's been some.
I mean, because I'll be
trees inside of
watching
buildings
movies.
types of shit.
You know, you'll watch these movies sometimes, and you'll see like this far distant apocalyptic future and shit, and they'll be in the city, and it's just like the ruins of a city, but you don't see like all the vines and trees and stuff that have like.
Oh, there would
come
be
back.
like the animals too. Like, well, this is assuming that it's not something that wipes out all life.
You know, depending, it's you know, if it's something that's just like all life is fucking totally obliterated. Then,
but even if it wipes out like mammals or most life, there's still going to be insects over every square inch of everything. Plants, any plants that remain after whatever happens are going to just take over the fucking world. It'll be interesting to see. Well, be interesting to see.
After every mass extinction event, there's always been some fucking species that had been kind of like in the background for a minute, and then it's like, oh shit, it's my turn now.
Yeah, jellyfish even got their turn, bro.
I know.
There was a point in time on the planet where life consisted basically of like algae and jellyfish.
I mean, we used to be the fucking bottom, you know, mammals used to be the bottom bitch on the fucking totem pole of life. We were like these like timid little scavenging fucking things that came out in the dark of the night, fucking rustled up some insects and shit, and then went back to our little holes and just like, oh God, there's a bunch of scary reptiles everywhere. Then that fucking meteor came. Next thing we know, we're like, holy shit, there's way less of the fucking things that used to eat me all the time around lately. You notice that? Holy fuck. And then next thing you know, bam, humanity's here. And we're getting ready to fucking precipitate a new mass extinction event. Let's see who
the
benefits.
Monkey, the man, then the gun.
The Atom of Eden was a bomb.
It was.
I mean, what Manson's saying there is that like in our genius lay the seeds of our destruction. So,
and of course, like everything cool, as of April 2020, efforts began to cover up Graffiti Highway by the private owner of the road.
Oh my God, go fuck your ass with a fucking cactus, you fucking bitch.
The abandoned highway was covered with dirt in April 2020, generally blocking public access to the road.
Dude, you're a moron. You could have fucking charged admission for this shit or something if you want. Like, you could have monetized this.
No vision, dude. No vision.
You could have been like, come see the graffiti road. Buy an overpriced spray can. I mean, like, you didn't fucking even do it the American way. You're just a dipshit. You spent money just to fucking ruin people's good time when you could have made money off of their good time. You're so dumb.
With the last signs of life cleared out from the area and the few residents remaining being recluses and probably either dying or being forced out in the next few years, Centralia will be nothing but a burning ember and a reminder of just how dangerous and destructive coal mines can be. You see, this is just one of a couple of coal mines that we'll cover in today's episode.
Nice.
So this is the another town that exists over one of these, this time in Colorado. This is the Vulcan Mine fire. The population of less than 5,000 people. Newcastle is a coal town that was incorporated during the 1880s. Came to be quite prosperous as a little, kind of basically the same story as Centralia, right? Little boom town.
Yeah, I mean, coal was hot for, you know, I mean, like, it's obviously still prized, but it's really hot during this time. There's a lot of towns that, you know, spring up around these coal mines. And, you know, if you got a booming coal mine, you got a booming town.
Yep. And this one really is just kind of a tribute to just man's fucking cruelty and stupidity. The Vulcan Mine produced high quality coal and was one of the most profitable mines in the area until tragedy struck. On February 18th, 1896, a big part of the mine exploded and it instantly killed all 49 people working that day.
Brutal.
So the local newspaper at the time described the event as shaking the entire town as if it was an earthquake. So the explosion just like made the ground shake. It was so huge.
Yeah.
It took 4 weeks for the area to be safe enough to try and recover any of the bodies. And the fire from that explosion still burns today.
Yeah, that's more than 100. That's like 130 years ago almost.
Well, it wasn't necessarily the fire from this explosion that still burns today.
Oh,
but
okay.
we'll talk about it. The Vulcan Mine fire is the longest burning coal seam fire in the country. The Vulcan Mine was, of course, reopened a few years after the disaster of 1896 and had a repeat performance on December 12th, 1913. The fucking mine exploded and killed all 37 people working.
Yeah, okay. How many people are you going to feed to this mine? You're basally just throwing people into the open maw of Economos at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's the direct route.
Ah, yes, their souls stoke my eternal flame. Yes, you will all be devoured by Economos. You call yourselves consumers, but it is you who are being consumed.
Like, give me a break, guys.
Dude, maybe these guys are the lucky ones, man. They're the ones that
got
like
to die quick.
Yeah. The Economos usually just like lowers us into a burning coal mine slowly over the course of our life.
Sometimes he likes to just pull that rug, though, you know?
Yep.
Sometimes Economos likes that look on people's face, the moment of shock when they realize, like, Economos is evil. I got me a good job digging coal, feeding my family, putting food on the table. Things are going pretty good. Oh, no! Economos like, you thought you could feed your family by appeasing Economos. Now you will eat only flame. He's like, oh, shit. No. Economos, you're so mean.
I love him, dude. TJ and Paul, if there was a nuclear attack announced in 1 hour, what would you do with that last hour of prosperity or carnal pursuits?
The idea that you would even be in the mindset to enjoy yourself.
Right.
Like, you'd probably just spend that hour in dread and terror.
Yeah, and like grief and like trying to call your family and
desperately searching for some escape that can never come, and like trying to fucking like cling to those you love and shit. It'd be pretty fucking sad. It's not gonna be like, whoa, the world's about to end. I guess I better get my dick sucked one last time. It's like you're not gonna be in that headspace. If you are, you're a special breed.
Yeah. There might be like 15 people on the planet that are in that headspace, and they're probably gonna get their dick sucked,
Yeah, they probably will. But most of us are probably just gonna be cowering little terrified animals.
Your answer, how many times are they going to feed people to the mine? The answer's 3, because despite these 2 major losses of life, they reopened the mine. They rebranded it. They changed the name from Vulcan Mine to something else. And then a 3rd explosion happened in 1918. This one, thankfully, only took 3 lives, but still, it was the nail in the coffin.
Vulcan Mine? No. This is not Vulcan Mine. Oh, good, because that's the one that exploded those 2 times. Yeah, I don't want to go in that one. No, this is Naklov Mine.
Naklov,
yeah, it's a good one. No explosions have happened in Naklov Mine, only in Vulcan Mine.
So that's what it took, though. That last one, the mine shut down and permanently, and it's now just private property. It's closed forever, and it wouldn't really be worth much because
you know what they say,
at some point, one of those explosions along the line set a fire deep within the coal seam that rages today. And here's actually a picture of it.
Here's the flashpoints of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Look at all that.
So these are all the different little parts of the underground of this area that are currently burning. It's been burning for over 100 years now.
Oh, man. You know what they say, man? Explode me once. Shame on you. Explode me twice. Shame on me. Explode me 3 times. I'm out.
Shame on us all.
I'm out this bitch.
Yeah.
Shame all around. And now a nice little chunk of burning land, man. Look at this whole vein of land just burning underground. Very nice.
It looks like a nice little fucking river, like lake valley or river valley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looks like it'd be kind of a pretty place. I mean, sure it is. You can take a look at, is this the last picture of this one?
I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me check.
I can't tell. Yeah, you can go to the next one.
No, there is one more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
So it's kind of hard to see, but the whole parts of this mountain are like bald
Yeah.
because there's a fire right underneath it. And so the plants can't.
Yeah, their
You know what
root
I mean?
systems are destroyed and stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah.
And so and this happens, it's also an area that gets snow, and the snow melts. The snow doesn't accumulate like it should on these mountains because it melts because so the ground is literally hot to the touch in some areas. It's just a coal seam fire is weird.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about it as we go along, but it's more like if you looked at a barbecue filled with briquettes, it's not like a raging inferno.
Yeah, it's like a slow burn.
Right. It's super hot because coal is super concentrated.
Right. I mean, anybody who's ever run a barbecue grill knows a little bit about, how coal burns and stuff. And it's
Right.
It burns in a very unique way.
And so just imagine that just all underground. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, obviously it's not processed coal like the briquettes you'd have in your grill, but you see the general principle of how that shit burns.
Right. And if you've got like a huge coal seam, which this area clearly does.
Right, gigantic. I mean, we
saw in the
last picture just like the enormous miles that it covers.
It's going to burn until there's nothing left to burn, and nobody knows when that is. It could be hundreds or thousands of years, as we'll see.
Right, and who knows what sort of will we start to see sinkholes all over this land? I mean, is that already happening? It probably is, right? As some of that ground, as all the stuff underground burns,
it's got the same
problems
problems
that
the
surface, so it's going to collapse in on itself.
It's got the same problems that Centralia had, where if it gets underneath, the fissures will open up and shit. It's they literally created hell under the ground. Yeah. There's no need for the mythological hell anymore. We've made the real one.
Yeah, it's right there. Hell, we got that here on Earth. That's no problem.
This one, I don't know. I can't decide if this one's based or not. We'll have to decide.
Okay, I'm gonna put on my cap, my baseball cap, and
it's got a labor focus to it.
All right, cool.
New Straitsville in Ohio takes its place as one of the origins of a national coal miners union. But not before local miners took their frustrations out on the very source of their income. When they couldn't get, they didn't have a union, but they couldn't get concessions as workers, they got together and they burned the motherfucking mine, basically.
They're just all right, no, you won't, no concessions to us? Fuck you then. Fuck your profit. We're burning your mine.
They basically went out on strike, and then they loaded up these coal mine carts with just timber, lit them on fire, and rolled them down into the mine. The carts went so deep and started a fire so deep in the mine, and they had it shut down due to the strike, that they didn't even know that it had caught fire. Nobody knew that it had caught fire like that till 4 days later. And by that time, it was fucking out of control. So,
right.
Over 100 years later, this fire continues to burn.
See, now this guy right here, this guy understands the spirit of capitalism. This dude is capitalism personified. This is the most American picture of the most American man ever fucking taken right here, because he's fat, he's profiting off of a tragedy, he's holding a gun. This is fucking America right here. I'm gonna assume. I mean, this guy right here, he's not the best of us. He's not even the worst of us. But what he is he's the most us of us. Okay, yep. This is America. You want to know America? There it is. This guy right here. I don't know who he is. I'm hoping that he's he's the guy profiting off of this. He's the guy. I mean, he's the guy standing by this sign. I don't know what he's got this gun for. I don't know if there's people trying to attack the sign or something, or what he's got that for.
Maybe he just walks around with that. I like to imagine he just uses it like a fucking cane or whatever,
And just in case someone talks some shit to him, he's like, "Hey, fat boy, what's that? I said, hey, nice hat is what I said. Actually,
nice hat, boy."
Yeah, that's what I said. Nice hat, boy. Don't call me boy. All right, sorry about that.
So Over 100 years later, an estimated 200 square miles of underground mineral deposits have been destroyed by this fire. So it's like not only horrible because it ruins the lives of people that live out on top of it and around it, and it poisons people. And, you know, we've heard all the horror stories of what happens when there's a little town near one of these things. But it's like all of those natural resources just go to pot. There's clearly like a huge seam of coal. Whoa.
Huge for a moment there.
It's usually like a huge seam of coal underneath this thing that, like, it's sad to see. Like, we didn't extract it, we just burned it, you know. But this one in particular was done by labor activists. So I don't know. Is it a based move?
I mean, it's short-sighted, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of based to be like, hey, you know, if you ain't gonna pay me what I want, then you ain't getting any money yourself, bitch.
I'm gonna set a fire that fucking 110 years later is still raging.
I mean, I don't think that they probably realized that was going to be the result. I think they probably would have been a little bit more reluctant to do it in that case, but you know, maybe I'm wrong.
They call this one the Devil's Oven. It's described as a long simmering legacy of the state's industrial past, an environmental nightmare that just will not go away. The new Straitsville mine fires raged ever since 1884. I thought this picture was kind of cool. This is an undated photo of somebody that was sent to try and extinguish this, I guess, or study it. Clearly pretty old.
Yeah.
You can see the rig. I think that rig looks pretty cool. Nearby residents use water from their wells to brew instant coffee because it was so hot from the fire, so they could like pull their well water right out and just brew coffee with it.
Oh yeah, it's nice and hot already. Woo! It's kind of convenient in a lot of ways, honestly.
In 2003, smoke began to emerge from the soil of the Wayne National Forest. It's going on. It's 119 years after the fire started, so still raging. So,
but yeah, 119 years later, fire just like the smoke starts billowing out of the fucking pit. This is a schoolhouse at Old Straitsville has been condemned for the fires burning directly underneath it. Note the sunk and crater in the foreground. Yeah, because like the ground is burning. So like I said, yeah, these sinkholes are everywhere. And this is just like a glimpse of what the fire looks like underneath the ground.
If you could see it underneath the ground, this is what it would look like. Just this is a picture of a coal seam fire. It's one of, you know, that usually they're not this open to the air. So
yeah,
but you can imagine.
But someone's probably excavated down to this, or this just happens to be an open part of the earth where they could look and see like what's actually going on underneath. And as you can see, it looks much like, you know, it would look with the briquettes in your fucking grill if you're grilling something. I don't know how many boomers we got grilling stuff in our audience, but I'm assuming you at least know what that looks like. And pretty similar to that.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a campfire that's burned down too. You got nothing but embers.
Yeah. Remember that time we were fucking on acid and we were just like staring at the embers of that campfire for like an hour and a half, being like,
dude, I stood there for like 2 hours and spit on that fire.
I know. You were like, because you kept imagining it was like a solar system, and then you spit on it and be like, your planet's fucked. Puh. That's another world destroyed. I'm God here.
You hear that little sizzle?
I'm a cruel God. Your lives are over. Puh. Puh. Fuck you. I have power here. Then Paul looks up and sees the giant spit wad coming down at him. He's like, you know what? That's fair.
That was a wicked trip. That acid was something else, man. It had a little special
that Ganesha shit. Yeah, it definitely has an appropriate name because it feels very like Ganesha, you know, like holy holy. Some kind of weird shit happening on that.
It was a ride for sure. So as we've looked at some of these, they've been burning for like, you know, the gas pit, 50 years, 100 years each for some of these coal mine fires that we covered, going on 100 years for one of them. How long could these conceivably go is what I wanted to find out. So what's the longest burning one of these? Well, it's called Burning Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they got the name. It's a
Yeah,
national park.
How'd you come up with that?
It's a national park about 4 hours north of Sydney, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And a fire is smoldering out of control, and it's been doing so for at least 6,000 years.
That's a long
6,000
fucking time.
straight. So it's like, to give you an idea of the scope of this disaster, these types of disasters, this is not something that like, oh, it burned for 100 years or 200 years and then finally burned out. There's a chance that like 6, 7, 8, 10, 20,000 years into the future that some of these fires we've started will still be burning.
I'm just gonna try. What were we even doing 6,000 years ago?
It's
like
prehistoric.
We were hunter gatherers then. Still, we were. I mean, like we were kind of coming out of it. I think some agriculture had come around. I think that was about 12,000 years ago. We started developing agriculture, so we maybe had some like farms and shit. But we don't have written language or anything. I don't think.
I mean, not that we've discovered. There's a probability that we had some form of written language.
That's true.
But
all right, let me see here. I'm looking at the timeline of prehistory. So 6,300 to 6,350 years ago, Akihoya eruption creates the Kikale caldera, ends the earliest homogeneous Jomon culture in Japan. When the Jomon culture recovers, it shows regional differences. 6,100 to 5,800 years ago, Zubug phase in Malta. I don't know what the fuck that is. 6,000. There's another 6,000 years ago. Tripillion build the the Nepelkiva in the Ukraine settlement, which reached 15,000 to 18,000 inhabitants. So we had some sort of like civilization going on by then.
It's like the dawn of civilization.
But yeah, I mean, like we're talking like real early civilization here. Like we're just starting to fucking gather into like larger masses of people. 6,000 civilizations. I mean, here's one that's exactly 6,000 years ago. Civilizations develop in the Mesopotamia Fertile Crescent region around the location of modern day Iraq. Earliest supposed dates for the domestication of the horse and the domestication of the chicken. So this fire has been burning since we domesticated the fucking horse. That's how old this motherfucker is. People were just now fucking keeping chickens at this point, right?
Yeah, just figuring out how to like farm animals to keep them near us instead of going like nest to nest and collecting their eggs manually. We started putting them in coops.
What if we put all these motherfuckers in one place and fed them, and then we can eat their eggs? That's just a thought.
So it's located
this is an old motherfucking fire.
This is under Mount Wingan in the state of New South Wales. Wingan means fire in the language of the local Wanarua people.
Wanarua.
So I guess it's been burning well into their history as well. This underground smolder is a coal seam fire, one of thousands burning at any one time around the globe. Once ignited, these subterranean fires are, as we've seen, kind of hard to put out.
Yeah, a little bit.
Slowly but intensely, they travel through the coal seam, a layer of coal that naturally occurs in the Earth's surface. No one knows the size of the fire under Burning Mountain. You can only infer it. Some professor of science once said.
Some kind of science guy said
his
one
name
time.
is fucking Guillermo Rhine.
Guillermo Rhine, a professor of
my source.
fire science, which I didn't even know was a thing. There you go.
Dude, fire science. Cool.
I want to be a fire. I mean, if I'd have known. See, I didn't learn about all the good careers until I was fucking 37. That's the problem.
Nobody ever tells me about
I
shit
know, like
this.
when you're a kid, you're fucking sitting there, you want to be a doctor or a lawyer? I'm like, that sounds fucking gay. Get away from me. No one ever asked me, like, do you want to be a fire scientist? I'd be like, what? What'd you just say? Fire scientist? Yes.
Unlike a typical fire, a coal seam fire burns underground. It's smoldering, which means that there's no flame, and it's more like embers, like I said, from a barbecue. Rather than a typical coal fire, it's not to be confused with the more dramatic coal seam gas fires. That's like the one we saw before, the crater.
Mm-hmm. It says those can even set waterways on fire, so that's not good.
They release a ton of gas into the water and air, and you can burn a river.
So here is a
but-
drone. Oh, fuck that music. Here's some
Yeah,
drone
yeah.
footage of the mountain here.
You can
You know.
see like the bald spots where the fire is currently burning.
Yeah, I feel like this white stuff might be just like ash from the coal too.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not like super dramatic when you're like looking at it from the surface, because what's happening is really happening underground.
Yep.
But
And
yeah, like,
it's part of a national park. It's a tourist attraction. You can visit this.
and you can see that, there's that fucking, it's still raging under there. 6,000 years. You see the fucking plumes of smoke emanating from the ground there. You could easily fall in that, I'm assuming. There we go. The underground fires caused discoloration of the soil along with large cracks and unstable ground. I mean, I imagine this ground would be very unwise to take a stroll on. You
Hell
could
no,
easily
dude. I'd
fall
fucking go
into
do-
a burning a pit there.
Dude, I'd do jumping jacks on that ground. I don't give a fuck, TJ.
I know you
I'm
want
afraid of
in.
no coal seam fire, man.
Yeah, would this scratch your jumping into a volcano itch if you fell into one of those, or
I mean,
not
it
epic
might.
enough?
It might it would only inflame my passions for the volcano more. I think,
Yeah,
like a cock tease,
Yeah, it's like, ooh, yeah, it's
'Cause
like a
like my
fluffer.
plan, if I fall into one, is I'm just gonna grab a tree root, like that kid did.
Yeah, it makes sense. Here's a I think the video is still going there. There we go. Here's a little side view, so you can see a little bit of an inference of like what's actually going on underneath there.
Yep. If you visit this park, which is, as I said, open to tourists, the only current evidence of its existence is some smoke and white ash, a ground that's warm to the touch, discolored rocks. They're yellow and red, as we've seen, and a sulfuric smell. Gotta
Yeah,
love that rotten egg sulfur
no one,
smell.
no one can resist the sweet smell of sulfur.
So that's what you get for your tourist dollar. You get a
it's not
stinky,
quite as
rotten egg
dramatic as the
smelling.
Turkmenistan one, but I mean, it is inside, obviously, but like you don't get that visual sort of like, whoa, look at it, holy fuck.
Oh yeah,
See-
that is true. In the DFF game that Skeptical Jesus made, you can dick
Yeah.
down a volcano with me.
That is true. Beautiful stuff. Isn't hollow underground what causes the breathing earth where the ground looks like it's breathing? I imagine it would. I mean, I don't know exactly about that phenomenon. I've never really heard of that, but I would imagine the ground would have to be hollow for that effect to happen. So I guess so. But it's time to switch topics at this point.
Why
no, is it not?
don't you interact with the chat for just a second?
Oh,
gotta
okay,
go
I got
pee.
you.
I'm
Go
just gonna
take
go
a piss. Paul
gonna go
needs
take
to
a leak.
piss. Go.
I've got a
piss.
tiny little walnut of a bladder,
It's okay.
dude.
Go ahead. It's all good. I'm gonna talk to the chat people. What's up, y'all? What's up, chat? Eternal flames of Centralia. Paul got stuck in a volcano. That's true. It happens. Paul did get stuck in that volcano. Yeah, I already read that. Can a bog? Oh, hollow earth confirmed. I mean, some parts of the earth are definitely hollow. Just like there's pockets of coal, there's pockets of air. There's underground lakes. There's lots of stuff going on underground that we're not necessarily aware of because we're surface dwelling creatures. I have pooed. Good for you, man. I'm happy. Hi, TJ. Fire is sexy. I get it. I mean, fire is definitely sexy. Fire is seductive. Fire, if you watch fire, it doesn't so much change. I mean, like, it's like it takes one shape and then it's another shape and then it's another shape. There's no transition between it. It's not like the flames really move. It's just like, it just changes. It's like almost like a clip show when you watch it. Now, I don't know if that's just the way my eye perceives it or if that's like accurate, but I love to watch that shit. And I love all the shapes it takes. And I love the heat that it gives off. And I love the sparks that it sends up in the air. I'm not too big of a fan of the smoke that it sends billowing into your face. That's not my favorite. But, TJ, you're an Australian through and through. I don't even have a speck of Australian blood in my DNA. Okay.
Thank goodness.
I know.
Thank goodness, because This is a pithy comment that nobody's ever said, dude. Australia is just a bunch of criminals, man.
Whoa.
It's a prison
Yeah.
colony.
I mean, it just kind of does go to show that if you take a bunch of prisoners and you fucking put them on a boat and you send them to a different continent, you know, the results are exactly what you expect. Bunch of fucking bullshit. Look at them. What did this poor mountain, you know? They lit this mountain on fire, and then they said, oh, no, it's been burning for 6,000 years, mate, before we even got here. Like, nah, I don't believe you. You lying motherfucker. You kangaroo-eating pieces of shit did this. I know you did. Paul,
What about the natives? Clearly, they're excluded.
You know this bitch, Paul. You know this bitch.
Oh,
you know
man.
this bitch.
Yeah, the one on the left was my 4th grade teacher, and the one on the right haunts my very nightmares and nibbles my toes while I sleep.
Hey, Paul, it's me.
Dude, you know what she looks like? You know what she looks like, bro? She looks like Meg Mucklebones from Legend, bro. Look up Meg Mucklebones, bro.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll do it.
Meg Mucklebones.
Meg Mucklebones.
Yes,
Meg
dearie.
Mucklebones.
It's time for dinner. Dude, Meg Mucklebones, the bog witch from Legend. Yep.
There you go.
Here she is. Hello, sweetie. It's me, Diane Feinstein.
Yeah, evil. So yeah, this is Diane Feinstein, who is the current oldest member of Congress. Who, you know, as of June of this year is 89 years old. Which means that she's on her 90th year of life on Earth, because, of course, once you hit a milestone, you begin on that next year. Right. So really, you know,
she's pushing 90.
She's working on 90 right now. She hasn't quite reached that, but this is her 90th year of life. And she was elected back in 1992, same year that my wife was born. So how old is she? I mean, even CNN is sounding the alarm bells at this point, basically. Even like, it's pretty bad when CNN, who you obviously, they're like totally, you know, Democrat ball wash network, right?
Right.
They're trying to report. Even they're like kind of being like, Diane, it's time for Diane to go, guys. It's time for her to just kind of saunter off into the sunset. They're trying to give her a soft landing. I want to take a brief look at the video, just not really so much to like commentate on it, but just to kind of like give you a sense of like the tone with which they're covering this. So let's take a real quick gander at that. They got this guy out there doing
So
this.
how best to handle the sensitive issue of Senator Diane Feinstein?
Yeah.
This week, the San Francisco Chronicle ran a story suggesting the 88-year-old Democrat may be, quote, mentally
89 now, by the way.
unfit to serve. The unnamed sources it cites include 4 U.S. senators, 3 of them Democrats, a California Democratic member of Congress, and 3 former Feinstein staffers. The California lawmaker...
Sound like a bunch of fucking people who wouldn't know shit about it. You know, like...
Yeah, what do they know? They
like
only
her
work
colleagues, her colleagues and staffers are sending the, signaling the alarm bells like she ain't sharp no more. She's got to go. She got to go. It's not working out. She's not able to do this anymore, guys. You know? And this is like, keep in mind, like if these are her colleagues saying this, they are also ancient fucks. But like compared to her at this point, they're like, you know, it's like a bunch of 60 and 70-year-olds being like, she's too old. Get her out. Too old. When even the fucking sectagenarians and shit are starting to call you too old, you know it's time to go.
Unnamed sources in the Swamp Committee say that Meg Mucklebones no longer, quote, has what it takes to be the bog witch of legend.
The experience, quote, rather than delve into policy, Feinstein repeated the same small talk questions like asking the lawmaker what mattered to voters in their district, with no apparent recognition the two had already had a similar conversation. Those interviewed for the article also say it appears that Feinstein can no longer fulfill her duties without relying on her staff. Currently, Feinstein is the Senate's oldest member, but there are 6 others also in their 80s. In response,
including Mitch McConnell and Bernie Sanders, and who else was on there? Patrick Leahy, Senator Richard Shelby, Senator Jim Inhofe, Senator Chuck Grassley, Diane Feinstein.
What the fuck, man? Why is there like an octogenarian block in Senate?
Yep. Hey, you know, they need representation too, Paul. Who's going to represent the octogenarians if not these fucking people, man? You got to give it to them. Got to give it to them. So, Paul, you know, you fucking have, oh, here's her defense, by the way. I meet regularly with leaders. I am not isolated. I see people. My attendance is good. I put in the hours, represent a huge state, so I'm rather puzzled by all of this. I'm also puzzled by what's going on with this damn toaster. Why won't it toast my toast? Where's the toast?
Puzzled is a bad.
You didn't put any bread in there, Grandma. Oh,
Somebody should have edited this. Yeah, this is a bad statement, man.
I'm rather puzzled.
You don't want to put puzzled in there, man. You don't want people like, because that's just like kind of confirming what people are saying.
Yeah, she should go on if you want to go on the offensive on this, you got to be like, this is ageist nonsense. They're trying to tear me down because they are jealous of my great accomplishments. I am as sharp as ever. Fuck you. This is my last word on this matter. That it's like, I don't understand. I see the people. I do the hours. I'm puzzled by this. Why? I'm so puzzled and confused. Yeah, you don't want to. You're not assuaging people's fears with this. But, you know, I don't know. This is your senator, right? You're represented by this chick.
Yes.
You're not. So yeah, this is your politician, Paul. This is you got that must drive you crazy because you hate these old fucks running everything, and you were represented by the oldest fuck currently in the fucking Congress.
I mean, why do you think I have such a distaste for ancient people in politics? Because she was ancient when I was a young man, you know, like she was already fucking in her late 60s when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So she was already, in my opinion, too old to be doing the job or approaching too old. Like, I don't know, man. It just seems to me like there should be some kind of provision for automatic fucking retirement at like 80 or 75, or I think it should come at like 65. That used to be the old corporate retirement date.
Yeah.
You got to 65 and the company was just like, hey, here's your golden parachute. You're fucking out. And the reason for it is because people started to like lose it around 65.
Yeah, you start to like, you know, you slow down a step or two, right? Maybe sometimes more for certain people.
Right.
You know, and I get it. Some people stay fucking pretty sharp and shit, but you know what? Those sharp people, they can go do sharp people activities. They can go play chess or something. They can go find some hobby that stimulates them. But like making it a career, making it like, hey, we all, you know, rely on this person for like leadership, whatever the fuck that means in America at this point. Like, I don't know. It's pretty fucking sad. And it's just like, it's not even like she's just symptomatic of a larger problem because like we have the oldest Congress in fucking history right now.
The
like,
oldest president as well.
Yeah, we have the old, we'll get to that. But yeah, like we have the, like by averages, like the Congress, I think the average age is like 60 something, 70 something already. It's like, why are we living in a fucking geriocracy right now? Why do we continue? And even if you look at polling, well, we'll get to the polling stuff. But first I want to show you this other guy, because she's the oldest sitting now. You might wonder like, who's the oldest ever, right?
Right.
So that'd be this dude, who, as you can tell, is also not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't used to do this shit. We didn't used to fucking have a bunch of fucking ancient fucking mummies running the country. This guy is Ralph Hall. He represented Texas's 4th district from 1981 to 2015. He was 91 years old when he finally left office.
Fucking A, bro.
He died 4 years later at the age of 95. So that's obviously notable about him, but there's a few other things that are maybe a little notable. So here's a cute little factoid, I guess. One time, long time ago, he pumped gas
for Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, he's like one of those old dudes in town that like just lives at the bar and has that one story that he tells everybody over and over again. You know, one time I was pumping some gas. There was a cute young couple, and they drove off in their Ford, Model T. And then the guy next to me said, "Hey, don't they look like this picture here in the paper?" And it was Bonnie and Clyde.
And people are like, "Whoa, yeah, it's crazy, Bonnie and Clyde,
yeah, it's crazy,
man." So another thing about this guy, he actually switched parties in 2004. After being a Democrat for 50 years, he switched over to the Republican Party because the Democrats had gone crazy, too far left. Part of it was because he was a climate change denier. He was like, he basically said that climate change was made up to get research grants and stuff. Like, these scientists, they just want money and they make up these crazy stories about how maybe massive pollutants are having an effect and impact on the environment. It's all a bunch of fiddle faddle. So by the way, this guy did not retire. It wasn't like he decided like, I'm too old. I now will relinquish the reins of power. It's absurd that a 91-year-old man would. No, he sought re-election. He just was defeated. By the way, another distinct thing about this guy, he's the only congressman in Texas history who was ever been like basically primaried. Yeah, out of like 246 attempts since the state's inception, he is the only time that a Texas candidate has been successfully primaried. There was no opposition from the Democrat Party. There was only Republicans running. So basically the primary was the race because he ran unopposed. There was no one else to vote for if he won the nomination. He actually, he'd served the district for a long time. And the Republican Party kind of, I think, looked at him and was like, liability, too old. So they basically they loaded up the ticket with like 5 competitors to this guy, which is very unusual. So they were really trying to oust him because what they realized is they needed to do was trigger a runoff election. So they got 5 guys up in there. Even though he won more of a percentage than any of them, he didn't get to the 50% necessary to secure his position on the ticket, which would have basically secured him the race. There was enough of a dilution of the vote that it went to a runoff. And in the runoff, he was finally defeated by a dude named John Ratcliffe, who later left the representation of that district to go work in the Trump administration as the director of national intelligence in 2020, which was a very tenuous position under Trump because basically, like, if you look at like the history of the director of national intelligence, actually a pretty new position, was once the director of central intelligence, but whatever, that's not interesting.
Yeah, didn't he have like 3 of them during his presidency?
Trump had like 4. John Ratcliffe was the 4th. He had one that he fired.
Yeah.
And then he had 2 interim ones that were just like acting.
Wasn't
directors.
that Michael Flynn's position?
I don't think so, but it might have been. I could be mistaken on that.
He was something. He was national security something.
But this. But Trump went through a bunch of these guys, and I guess John Ratcliffe was kind of the last one. I don't think he's really done anything since then, but he probably works in private industry by now. And now the guy in the seat is like a younger dude, but he's younger for a politician. He's like in his 50s, but he's a piece of shit. We're not going to get into him because that's not really the point. We're talking about these old fucks. So anyway, this guy was 91, oldest guy to ever serve. Everyone should be familiar with our oldest president because just like at the the calls coming from inside the house, basically, right? Like he's still there. It's dude. Like, and the raven still is sitting on the bust of palace above my chamber door. Right?
Yeah. Dude, I gotta find some. I'm gonna find something, dude.
Go ahead and find it. So everyone should be familiar with him because obviously he's still fucking president. This is Joe Biden. He was sworn in at the age of 78 years and 61 days He is now 79 years, 8 months, and 12 days old. Your president of your country is 79 years, 8 months, and 12 days old. Just putting that out there for you Americans. On November 20th, 2022, he will turn 80 years old while serving as president. Okay. So the second oldest president, by the way, is the president before him, Donald Trump, who was 70 years and 220 days old when he took office, which is a spring chicken compared to Biden. But if he does run again in 2024, which all signs indicate that he will be 78 years, 7 months, and 6 days old when he is sworn in. So if Joe Biden wins re-election, because Joe Biden keeps saying he's going to run again, if he does, and if he wins, he will be 82 years and 2 months old when he begins his second term as president of the United States of America.
Dude, Amelia showed me this meme, and I can't unsee it now that I've seen it. So I've got to share it with you.
Share it up.
Joe Biden. Let me see here. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Is this okay? Is this Joe Biden? Or is this the alien from Fire in the Sky, dude?
Oh shit.
Can we toggle back and forth between?
Yeah, I mean we can do that. Boop. Boop. Boop.
I
boop,
can't unsee it
boop,
now, dude.
Boop. Boop. Dude, it's so weird. I was just talking about Fire in the Sky like last night, which how often does that movie come up in conversation? But you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to unsee that because he does bear a striking fucking resemblance, dude.
He's the alien from Fire in the Sky.
Joe Biden is the alien from Fire in the Sky. Well, but we can take comfort in that because you know what? In alien years, Joe Biden is actually not that old. I mean, being 82 as an alien, that's like being 45 as a human, okay? He's like middle age alien.
I can't unsee it, dude. Every time I look at him, I feel like I'm strapped to a table with like a hose filled with black gunk being
We're gonna experiment on you, Jack. That's right, Jack.
He is a fucking tragedy to watch, man. Like when they let him out to give a speech, he is just so obviously probably I would say like a quarter of the way there. You know what I mean? And he's just struggling. He's hanging on to that last little bit of ability to read and express himself and to understand and process things as he's reading it. You can tell he's really struggling with it. And it's just barely tenuously hanging on. He lets go multiple times during speeches where he'll say like a string of random gibberish. Dude, I was watching and I hate people that fucking excuse this as a stutter, because whether or not he stuttered when he was a kid, listen to Joe Biden from like the 80s when he was working on the crime bill. He doesn't fucking sound anything like this. He doesn't stutter. He is not halting. He's not like teleprompter reliant. He can speak off the cuff. You know what I mean? It's clearly his mental capacity has degenerated to the point where he's having a trouble just reading shit.
Dude, you know, someone out there's plenty of these compilations of like Joe Biden gaffes and shit, but if someone just like took them all, because there's so many at this point, it would have to be like a 30-40 minute fucking video at this point where you could do this and just play like some really like sad kind of ominous music behind it, to where it's like not playing it so much for laughs as to play it as like scary, like, oh my God, you know, like that would be pretty effective, I think. But most of them are just like little tiny, you know, they show like, oh, here's a few gaffes. Like, okay, here's a, you know, like the bike. He fell on his bike. Can't talk. He fucking trails off into nowhere. Sometimes he wanders away from the podium and just like is like, just like looking at shit that ain't there and just like, oh my God.
He's twice tried to shake hands with somebody that's not there now.
Hey, oh shit, there's no one there.
He turns around and sticks his hand out. And like people are saying he's gesturing towards like, do I go this way or do I? And it's like, no, dude. He's like doing the whole like what you do when you're fucking going to shake somebody's hand, but there's nobody there.
Yeah,
and he's done it twice.
Yeah, and then he stands there for a while. Like it doesn't process immediately if there's no one there to take his hand. He like kind of stands there for a minute, like, Oh, never mind. It's like, what is this guy even aware? Like, what is his level of awareness of what's going on around him at any given moment? You know?
I think it's about 25%, man. I think he's about 25% in the current timeline and about 75% like at some different part in his career. I mean, who slips up and says, like, when they're running for president, says, I'm Joe Biden and I'm running for U.S. Senate. You know, I understand he was a senator for a long time, but it's a very different thing to be running for president. And the fact that that's just kind of supports my idea that he's part of him is just back in the 80s.
Right.
When he was strong and virile and present of mind.
I mean, like, the thing is, I mean, I feel like for him, it has to almost be like he's like having a fever dream where he's president.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
I think it was
like
the same thing.
Of
by the way,
with
Trump, I think Trump probably would never admit it, but I think Trump is having the same fever dream. I think that's why it's so like power fantasy, and like he thinks he can like send people to go take over the Capitol and shit. He's just fucking. He's barely lucid,
dude. If you watch a Trump speech, I don't know how people gather and listen to that and don't just immediately be like, "Oh, this guy can't lead shit." Because you mean, if you listen to him, it's literally just like a disjointed ramble that goes nowhere. And
most of the people that like support him talk the same way, though. They're like that's why. Like, finally somebody as dumb as we are. You know, like, I love that. Well, the reason I like Donald Trump because, you know, steel cutouts in the morning and the blueberry pie at night, you know.
Yeah.
You're just like, huh?
Amen. Amen, boy. So I don't want to get too far afield of American politics, but it is interesting to know that the oldest head of state on Earth living is Queen Elizabeth II, who is 96 years and 102 days old. She has reigned as Queen of the United Kingdom and 14 other Commonwealth realms since February 6th, 1952, when Joe Biden would have been about 10 years old. So she assumed the throne when Joe Biden was a 10-year-old boy. We were just talking about how ancient he is. So obviously that gives you an idea just how ancient she is. Now, not as much as expected of her, it being a largely ceremonial role, but the Queen does have actual power. She doesn't really exercise it because, you know, her society's kind of moved past that. But still, she is technically a head of state, and she is old as the fucking hills at this point.
I mean, well, look at her husband that just recently died. I mean, like, she's aged. I will give her this. For 96, you know, most of the times when I see her, she looks pretty fucking good for 96.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she clearly has a strong fucking genome or whatever. Like, you don't live to that age. You know, there's only so much science can fucking do for you. So my understanding is that
Philip or whatever, that was her husband, like Prince Philip, he recently died or whatever.
I am not one of these people that keeps track of the
I don't really either.
Of the royal family.
I just remember there was a really old, decrepit, ancient dude that was always showing up with her.
Yeah, he was that fucking horrible mummy looking demon.
Yeah.
With the fucking gnarly yellowed teeth and the sunken in sallow horrible face.
Yeah.
He looked fucking, oh yeah, what the fuck was he? I don't remember who that was, but yeah, he was a creepy looking fuck. He looked like a fucking horror movie villain or something. Prince Philip, yeah. Anyway, this has all sparked the debate of should politicians have age limits? And most Americans agree that they should. More than half of Americans support a maximum age limit for elected officials. In a poll asked by YouGov, the question was, should there be a maximum age limit for elected officials to hold office? Pretty fucking straightforward question. Nothing tricky in the wording there. U.S. adults, 58% said yes. 21% said, I don't know, maybe. And 21% said, hell no. Hell no. So we'll see how it breaks down by party. Democrats, 57% say yes, 22% say no. Independents, 60% say yes, 21% say no. And Republicans, 64% say yes, and 20% say no. So not really a huge difference in party, but a little bit. So here's a follow-up question. Should there be a maximum age limit for elected officials to hold office? Percentage of those who said yes. The age limit that it should be maximum age. So this is
65.
So that's not an option. It seems like to go by decades. So 60, 24% said 60, 70, 39% said 70, 23% said 80, and 5% said 90. It seems like the most favorite answer of these ages given is 70. Just like, yeah, 70, you're too old. Go away.
Yeah.
So basically that means no Trump, no Biden, certainly no fucking Diane Feinstein. A lot of politicians we got hanging around today would be out under this system. So how would these limits impact the makeup of our Congress? Our analysis found that if senators over 60 were barred from holding office, 71% of current senators would be ineligible to serve. If the limit were 70, 30% would be ineligible. And if it were 80, 6% would be ineligible. So, it just goes to show you how fucking out of control this issue has gotten. We need, I don't particularly care if there was a couple of old people in the halls of power, I'm fucking grandpa or whatever. Okay, that's not too big of a deal. But when it's such a systemic problem where we literally are ruled by ancient people who out in society, you don't even see people this old doing stuff anymore.
Yeah, dude. If you hear about somebody that old, it's usually from a family member that goes "Oh yeah, great grandma's still around. She's 91, still feisty.
She's sitting. Yeah, she's she's mostly just sits on her couch and watches TV. But she's still sharp.
She's still
some days.
still kicking around, still feisty as hell.
I get it. Every once in a while, there's your fringe case of oh yeah, he's still living an active outdoor lifestyle into his 80s, and that's great. Good for him, but that is not the fucking norm for human beings, okay? Most people by that age are fucking broken. They are fucking diminished. Just look at Joe Biden. He is not what he was in the fucking 80s. Whatever he was. I'm not saying this has nothing to do with politics or whose side you're on or any of that shit. Set all issues aside. He's not sharp like he used to be in the fucking 80s. Now I get it. He was always a gaffe maker. He always had problems speaking, but this is beyond that. The dude literally cannot hold thoughts in his head. He trails off into nowhere. He loses his train of thought more often than he fucking keeps it at this point. He says things that make no sense. He does things that show that he has a very limited, strange awareness of his circumstances. His situational awareness is not good. It's just demonstrable.
I think about it from the other end, the other perspective too, and I actually think it's a valid argument. I think it's kind of like elder abuse to place people in these stressful public situations and shit well into their fucking 70s and 80s. It's if you think about it, if what suspected about Diane Feinstein is true, that the cart has separated from the horse, that she's basically only capable of doing the polite small talk thing in public.
I would assume that it must. If so many colleagues and staffers coming forward, it almost has to be fucking true.
So what you have is a group of able-bodied, able-minded people
enabling this behavior,
enabling an old woman who ought to be in a facility or at least comfortable at home with some fucking 24/7 nursing to be used. And they're the ones that are actually making the decisions of consequence, unelected, with no feedback or input. And I suspect the same is pretty true of Biden. I think that Biden's proclamations and decisions on shit are heavily influenced, if not completely conceived, by his staff.
A lot of the people who came forward in that article to raise the alarm bells about this, basically, my understanding is at least among the staffers that work for her, their kind of position was almost they don't really want to be doing this. They don't want to come forward and report that this is happening because they have a lot of respect for her and shit. Obviously they served her. They're still these kind of people who to some extent believe in this system, which I can't relate to, but I guess that's where they're at. And it's they admire Diane Feinstein as a trailblazer or whatever the fuck. and a woman who served, in the 90s and stuff, and has served for a long time, and blah 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 blah. They have like this respect for her legacy, and they don't really want to go to her and tell her like, you're too fucking old to do this, because like part of her whole thing was like, I'm gonna fucking do things even though people tell me I can't. And it's usually they used to serve her well, but at this point she's legitimately too old. And it's like my understanding is they've tried to broach the issue with her, like, hey, Senator, but she's just like dismissive of it, like, no, I'm fine. And they don't want to be like challenging because she's powerful. So it's almost like her power, even though she's losing her mind, her power kind of still insulates her from like the truth of it.
This is why there needs to be a hard age limit.
Right.
Is because one of the things that happened, like Fred Trump was the same way. Donald Trump's dad was pretty famously like out of his mind at the end of his life, and would not, like, they had to trick him. They put him in an office with a phone that was hooked up to nothing and gave him a bunch of notepads and a bunch of fucking old paperwork to shuffle through, and let him believe that he was in charge up to his death because he would not accept that it was time for him to retire. Right. So they basically are doing the same thing to Feinstein.
Yeah.
And that's why there needs to be
but she's
a
in charge
hard
of
age, like, because like,
but she's supposed to be a senator. So like, like at the very least, this shows that she cannot represent the people that she's elected to represent, and that the people who are really in charge at this point are her staffers, and no one elected those staffers to be their fucking senator.
Right. And it's dangerous because you don't know what your fucking candidate's going to say at any given moment. And you don't know what, like, that's the whole thing, is like, there has to be some kind of baseline set for this, because if there's not, one of the things that happens when you lose your mind in old age and age related dementia and stuff starts to set into a lot of people, is like, you get very obstinate and resistant and
which was always
that everything's
part
fine.
of Diane Stein. It was all, sort of stubborn streak was always part of her character and charm, I guess, for people, because, she was like a very like, don't quit, stick to it kind of person. But now she's ancient.
And you're seeing examples of this, like Joe Biden going, I'm going to run for president, he says, when he's fucking like 75 or something. There should have been somebody in the family that was like, Dad, no. You're not going to run for president. You're in your 70s. You need to cool it out.
Look, you've served a very distinguished career. You were a very powerful man. You accomplished so many things in the Senate, and you were vice president under Obama, and you're a national figure, and you have your legacy. And I'm sorry, Dad, but like, being the president of the United States just ain't going to be part of that legacy.
But there's just nobody around in any official capacity or any familial capacity or any friendship capacity that like is capable of reining this in. And so we're seeing it like, look, dude, what is the Trump presidency if not the tantrum of a fucking like dude that's losing his mind, an old 70-something dude that's losing his fucking mind.
Yeah, it's like a boomer shit fit.
Yeah.
In president form. It's like, oh, fuck. And then Joe Biden is like hospice care for America, just like whisper sweet words to us as we go down the tubes, like, all right, this is not working out. But anyway, so that I thought there'd be more meat on the old politician bone. So at some point I kind of just like decided to do like a little mini topic about this other guy here. This dude right here. We don't have a whole lot to say about him. We're approaching the end of stuff at this point, but this has nothing to do with the old politicians topic. This guy is a politician, but he was not particularly old when he served. This guy is named Kirsa Iliyunjinov, right here. Yeah, he was the first president of the small Russian Federation-controlled nation of Kalmykia. All right.
Okay.
You probably haven't heard of it. It's a very small country.
Heard it. I've actually never even heard of Kalmykia.
Yeah, I mean, it's a country of 250,000 people. I don't blame you for not having heard of it. It's basically Russia. It's a Russian Federation controlled state. He's it's not like totally a puppet, but it's like it'd be like Puerto Rico or something. It's like something like that. It's like not quite part of Russia, but it's not really autonomous either.
Basically Russia.
Right. But, you know, he was not particularly old when he took office, so you can consider this a total departure from the stated topic. But I did want to talk about this guy because I learned about him very recently, and I was fascinated by him because he checks some boxes for me. Basically, the box he checks is that in September of 1997, while he was still in office, while he was still president, he claimed to have been abducted by aliens.
Whoa, our first abductee ruler.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and while he's president, he fucking abducted by aliens, comes back from space, tells everyone about it, and still served in office for a number of years afterwards. So, like, the people of his country were not even like, nah. And, you know, I mean, like, it is a democratic country, at least to some extent. Like, they did eventually replace him, but it wasn't over the alien thing. It was just, you know, like,
Wow,
that's fine. So they heard. In fact, he claims he got a lot of he got a lot of letters and stuff of you know, people admiring him for it. Like, oh wow, it's crazy to see you be honest about this alien encounter when, you know, you have so much to lose because you're the leader of the country and stuff. So they, like, if anything, people admired him for it. Personally, if my leader came to me and was like, I was abducted by aliens and all this crazy shit happened, I'd be like, okay, well, you're probably insane. So I'm gonna say maybe you shouldn't be the leader anymore. But apparently that's not how people felt.
I believe him.
Yeah, maybe it's true. So I'll tell you about his story.
Choose
to believe.
Yep.
So I want to read you a quote of his. All right. Yeah. So it happened on 17th September. I remember in Moscow. It happened in my apartment. I was taken from my apartment in Moscow and taken to this spaceship, and we went to some star. After I asked, please bring me back, because the next day I should be back in Kalmykia to Alistia and go to the Ukraine. They said, no problem, Kirsten. You have time. They are people like us. They have the same mind, the same vision. I talked with them. I understand we are not alone in this world. We are not unique. I am not a crazy man. But after that, I gave the first interview to Radio Freedom in Russia 5 years ago. Thousands, not hundreds, thousands of people wrote me letters and called me on the phone saying, Kirsten, you are a politician and you aren't afraid to speak about it. From the United States every year, it is an official statistic. More than 4,000 people are contacted in such a way.
True.
My theory is that chess comes from space. Why? Because the same rules, 64 squares, black and white, the same rules in Japan, in China, in Qatar, in Mongolia, in Africa, the rules are the same. Why? I think it maybe is from space.
Wow.
So not only did was he abducted, not only did they, you know, take him to a star somewhere, take him around space just for a little voyage.
Mm-hmm.
They also, you know, he was led to believe that maybe chess was actually created by these aliens. Now, even though I have a picture of these grays pulled up, which Paul snickered at, he actually did not describe them this way. He said that they're actually just looked identical to human beings.
That's actually kind of common. There's a number of like space UFO type of cults that have sprung up, and a lot of them claim that, you know, space aliens we're just like cut off from the main body of our species, and that space aliens are really just us.
Yeah. Even the guy who was abducted, claims to be abducted as the basis of Fire in the Sky, which we were talking about earlier when we were pointing out Joe Biden's creepy similarity to the aliens from that movie. Even that guy, like, it's not shown in the movie, but his official story, he claimed to encounter the gray type aliens, but he also claimed to encounter aliens that looked like identical to human beings. They were just a little taller, and, you know, mostly like blonde headed, and apparently had very 80s-esque haircuts, if the the drawings of them are to be believed.
One of those cults is the Raelians.
Oh yeah, the Raelian cult.
Yeah,
they're fun. So anyway, like I said, President Iliyunjinov claimed the aliens looked completely human. He also claimed that they didn't really abduct him for any specific purpose. They just kind of abducted him took him into space for a while and brought him home. You know, and then he continued to serve in office for another 13 years. So no one really gave a shit that the president claimed this. He's just kind of like, yeah, I was abducted by aliens. They looked just like us. They invented chess. And people are just like, okay, well, you got my vote. So, all right, rock on.
I think we need a weirdo fringe kind of kook as a president.
I mean, let's be honest. If you could choose right now, hey, there's this one guy. He's really obsessed with chess, which he is, by the way. He's like obsessed with chess, which is why he thinks it came from aliens, because he loves chess. He actually held a gigantic chess tournament in his home country. Like the state sponsored this big chess tournament because he loved chess so much. He kind of ruled with an iron fist, by the way.
I imagine so.
But he loved chess, and but if you had the idea of like, hey, here's a statesman who's competent, lucid, loves chess, pretty intelligent guy, but he does believe that he was abducted by space aliens and shown the cosmos and thinks that chess is of extraterrestrial origin. Or you can have this old doddering fool who shakes hands with nobody, lilts in and out of fucking lucidity and shambles around in a fucking haze. Who do you want as president? You know what I mean? Like, just based on those attributes. I think I'll take the crazy chess with aliens guy.
I mean, yeah, in a vacuum, not knowing any of his policies and shit. Yeah, I'd definitely go with the alien guy that's intelligent.
Yeah, if this guy loves chess, that's cool. I doubt our current or previous president could even play chess. Dude, no. I mean, maybe
Trump
Joe Biden
Trump couldn't. Neither one of them could play a game of fucking like shoots and ladders right now, let alone chess.
Yeah, the idea, and remember how people used to be like, Trump's playing 4D chess, you guys. It's like 4D chess. This motherfucker would lose a game of tic-tac-toe against a chicken.
Yeah, dude, he can't even fucking win a game of 3D chess, dude. What are you talking about, 4D chess?
Anyway, that is our episode today. You got the fucking volcanoes, not volcanoes. You got the fucking underground infernos, the giant everlasting fires burning beneath our very feet. These veins of coal that have been ignited, and the people who live near them, people who live under them, towns have been destroyed over it, burning pits of hell. And we've also got a country ruled almost entirely by fucking ancient desiccated mummies who can't string a sentence together, let alone competently run the body politic, run the politics of a giant nation of over 300 million people. So, sleep tight, motherfuckers. I don't know what to tell you. But me and Paul are going to be going on the other side of the Patreon paywall to do a grease trap, have ourselves a little casual conversation, see what comes up. You never know.
Yeah.
So
what I want to talk about, TJ, on the grease trap?
What's that, Paul? Big titties?
I want to talk about this, TJ.
Okay.
I want to talk about Joe Biden.
Let's talk about Joe Biden, the alien, man.
The alien from Fire in the Sky. We elected the alien from Fire in the Sky, man. What the fuck is wrong with us?
Oh, shit. Yeah, he does look. I mean, dude, someone Photoshop the hair onto it? Because I'm pretty sure that'll seal the deal.
Yeah,
I could probably try to do it on the stream. I could try to fucking see if I can just Photoshop Joe Biden into this thing, like start to amalgamate them to just show how little needs to be done. I'm pretty sure if I did the hair, that would be about all it fucking needs, to be honest with you.
Yeah, maybe like put like a suit on him, like give him a tie.
Slap him in the suit, maybe. Yeah,
and the blue blazer.
Yeah. Well, if you guys want to see that, join us on the other side of the Patreon paywall. We'll be there fucking around with this. We'll probably start it in like 10 minutes or so. See y'all's there. But for now, fairly well.